Hey everyone, I'm Radhika. Welcome back to DataZad. Today I'm back with an interesting challenge, and this time the challenge is around time intelligence functions in Power BI. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. We are going to be solving 2021 week 21 Power BI challenge, and we are going to be creating this visual. So let's jump into our Power BI report. Data for today's exercise needs to be obtained from a web URL. So for that, let's go to get data, click on web, and I'm going to paste this URL and click on OK. So this data is about Connecticut City house prices. Now we need to get the data for national house prices. I have again copied the link from the challenge, going into new sources and clicking on web. And now I will just add the second URL for national house prices and click on OK. Now, the second link was a website URL, and what Power BI does is it crawls the web page and gets the tables which are there in the web page. So, like the first table is this month observation, median, and inflation adjusted prices. Second table is about a column, please enter all required details. There is another table, so it will grab all the details of those tables. So, the table that we are interested in today is this table one. So, I will click this checkbox and click on OK. Now we have both the data sets in our Power Query editor. So I will just first rename this so it's clear. This one is Connecticut. So this one is national. Now it is already mentioned in the challenge that we need to get data from January 2001 to December 2020, and we need to get a date table for this. So what I will do is I will first create a date table, and the M query that I'm using for date table is from Enterprise DNA, and I'm going to share the link in the description below. So let's go to new sources, click on blank query, and then we will go to advanced editor and place that mQuery code and click on done. Once this is done, we need to provide the start date and end date. So the start date is 1st of January 2001 and the end date is 31st of December 2020 and click on invoke. Now this is our date table, so I will rename this as date. I will also filter out the data. So this data of the Connecticut City is from 2001 till 2022. So this challenge uses the data only till 2020. So because we have our date table from 2001 to 2020, so I will remove all the data which is past 2020. So for that, I will go to date and time filters and do date before, and then I will write date is before 31st December 2020 and click on OK. So now it has filtered all the rows, and the last data that we see is for 2020. Similarly, I will filter out the national sales as well. Now for this one, there is data from 1953 till 2024. So I need to filter data using dates between. So I will go to date filters and then let's do between. So our first date is, our date should be after 1st January 2001 and before 31st December 2020. Click on OK. Let us now click on close and apply. Now our data is loaded all right into the Power BI desktop. Let us go to model view so that we can create the connections between date table and our Connecticut and national table. So I will join the date column from Connecticut to date column in date. This will be a many to one relationship and click on save. Similarly, I will join the month of observation to the date from the date table, and this is a one-to-one relationship because in nationals table we have 1 year showing one median price, and then I will click on save. Now that this is done, let us start creating our measures. So the first measure that we need to create is median sales prices of the Connecticut City. Now these prices are already median, so we need to find median of these median sales prices of the houses. So for that, instead of creating measures in any of these tables, what I will do is I will create another table, calling it key measures, and I will save all my measures in this table, creating the first measure here, median Connecticut price, which will be equal to median of the median Connecticut price. Similarly, I will create another measure which is median national price, which will be equal to median of the median price from the nationals table. I will just delete this column and click on yes. So now our two basic measures are created. Now we need to figure out year over year percentage for the Connecticut city sales prices and the national sales prices. For that, I will create another measure and I will call this Connecticut year over year percentage. First, we need to get the current median, then we need to get the previous year's median, and then we need to subtract the difference between both of them and divide it by the previous year. So for this, I will get the previous year price. So previous year price. Because we need to change the context, so we will need to use calculate function. So calculate, we need to find the median price for Connecticut city, but we need to find this for last year. And to get the last year, we can use the date add function. So I will write date add. Now the first argument is dates, and usually when you see the first argument as dates, it's 99% of time the dates column from the date table. So I will give the date column from the date table. Number of intervals, we need to go previous 1 year, that's why we need to do -1, and then the interval is year, and closing all these brackets. So now this previous year price is the median price till previous year. I will create another variable called result, and here I will just divide my median this year, which is Connecticut median Connecticut price, minus the previous year value, and then again I will divide it by the previous year price. And now we just need to return the result. In similar fashion, we will find out the national year over year percentage. So again, clicking on new measure, national year over year percentage is equal to where previous year price, which will be equal to calculate. This time we need to find the previous year price for national median. So I'm selecting national median and then doing date add, again giving the dates column from the date table. We need to find the national median price till for previous year. So I will do -1 and then year and close all of these brackets. We will create another variable called result. This will be equal to divide national median price subtracted by the previous year value. Divide this by the previous year value and closing the bracket. And now we just need to return result. One last measure that we need to create is percentage change in Connecticut median versus national median. So I will just call this percentage change in Connecticut median versus national median. And this is simply divide the difference of median sales of Connecticut by Connecticut and national median sales by the national median sales. And now all our measures are ready. Let us start building our visual. One of the visuals that we need is a spark line, which is already mentioned in the challenge. So for that, I will go to get more visuals, search for spark lines and spark lines by Oquis. And this is Power BI certified. I am going to add it. This is how you can get any custom visual into Power BI. Now I will first start by creating the spark lines. So I will choose spark line. On axis, I will choose year from the date table. And on values, I will choose from our measures the median Connecticut price. We just need to format this. So I will disable the category label, turn on the title, and the title should be median home price CT. Let's just change the font and increase the font height. I will just change the background. So going into size and style, in backgrounds, I will choose the first gray color. Now I will just copy this visual and change the dimensions. So for this one, instead of median Connecticut price, I will choose median national price. I will just rename the title So instead of city, we just have to write national because these are national prices. Let us copy this visual and create the other two visuals. For the first one, let's bring in Connecticut year over year percent. And for the second one, instead of median national price, we will bring national year over year percent. Now we just need to format these. So for title, for the first one, it should be year over year gains CT. And for the bottom one, should be year over year gains national. And now we need to build a column chart. So for that, I will get this clustered column chart. And for this column chart on x-axis, we want year again from the date table. On y-axis, we want the Connecticut year over year percent and national year over year percent. Let's just format this a bit. So for legend, we don't want the title and we want the legend to be top center. For title, we want year over year median housing price trend, Connecticut and national. Let's just change the font, increase the font size, put it centered. I will just reduce the size of the legend text. So let's give it 9. We don't want the x-axis title. We don't want the y-axis title. And for values, let us just increase this to 12. And same with x-axis, let us increase this to 12. These values are percentages, so let's convert this into percent. So for that, I'm clicking on the Connecticut year over year percent and clicking on this percent sign. Similarly, for national year over year, I will convert this into a percent. So these look nice and neat. I will just increase the size of this canvas. So I'm clicking outside in the canvas, going into formatting, canvas settings, and I will choose custom. And the width that I'm going to choose will be 1550. And in here, I will insert the table. First thing that we need to get is year. So from date table, we will get the year. Instead of sum of year, we don't want it to summarize, so don't summarize. Connecticut prices. These are dollar values, so I will click on the measure and choose currency. Similarly, for median national price, we choose the measure and click on currency. These values might not match with what is there in the challenge because the values have changed a bit. And now getting the last thing, which is the percentage change. Now for column headers, let us just reduce these. So let's bring this here. And now we just do a style preset, choose minimal. We will give this a background color of the gray color that we gave to the spark lines. For column headers also, the background should be this gray color. For values, we will do the gray color. Alternate background. Now going into grid, let us switch this border color to a gray color. We actually don't want the totals, so I'm going to turn this totals off. For border, I'm going to give this light gray color and this grid a dark gray color. For grid, I'm going to change the color to this gray color. And now let us just increase the font size. So let's give it 12. Similarly, for column headers, also I will give this 12. And for all the values, let us put everything left aligned. So year, median, and percentage change. All of this should be left aligned. And for percentage change also, again, I will click on percentage change and change it to a percent value. So we see percentage and not the decimal places. And for decimal, I will just give it 0 decimal. For the column chart also, let us give this background color. We also need a slicer. So for that, I will choose slicer and get dates year into the slicer. For slicer again, I'm going to give this a gray background color. We don't want the slicer header, but we want a title, and the title should be select years. And now lastly, we just need to add a text box which says what's happening in the Connecticut housing market. And let's just place this at the top. Lastly, we just need to change the colors to match what is there in the challenge. So I'll click on these columns, choose Connecticut year over year percent, and choose the color. And for the national sales price, now this matches what is in the challenge. Again, the values have changed. That's why the values will not match. However, the concept remains the same. I hope you have now understood how to use time intelligence functions like DATAD. Thank you for watching. If you like the content, then please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you in my next one.